Men of Reddit, despite having interest for a woman, what makes you hesistant in approaching her? It took me 35 years and being married to understand that the biggest mistake guys make is actually choosing women when everything they should do is to work on their male attributes, career, body, access to resources, assertiveness, etc., and keep an eye out for which women show signs of accepting them. Depending on who the guy is, the number of women he will have access to will just be too much to handle. But how do you do when no one has ever shown signs of interest? You aren't aware of what might be wrong, and you might never know if they show a sign of interest, as you don't know what it might look like. Then you have two tasks in front of you. You have to be a better observer of human behavior in general, especially female behavior. Look at them and how they react to some attractive guy, for example. The signs are pretty obvious. The second task is more difficult. You have to work on yourself as a man. The best book I've ever read on what a man can do to improve himself is called The Way of Men by Jack Donovan. It's pretty cheap, and I read all his books. He has a podcast too. Look for it. I just don't feel good enough at the moment. I don't feel like I'm even close to where I need to be to interest a woman. I'm very self-critical. Or what? Don't be too hard on yourself. It's hard. It's hard not to think I'm just being completely realistic about myself. I've failed enough times to know that I must not be a very attractive person at the moment. It's obvious, and I feel like I'm at my wit's end most of the time. Thanks for the encouragement anyway. Same. But I'm trying anyways, and you're welcome. Hey, what other choice do we have but to pursue self-improvement, right? I'm not giving up just yet. Good luck to the both of us. Hahaha, yeah. Cheers to the both of us. If she says no, she's gonna tell her friend and make fun of you. Really? People do that? This is such an eye-opener. Thanks. Yep, happened to me and told everyone in both mine and her friend group. That's definitely embarrassing. So would you, or would you not prefer if a girl made the first move? Most men seem to really want women to make the first move, myself included. I don't know why so many women seem to think we don't want that. Personally, because I keep on thinking, wait, what if this how he normally treats women? Am I just one of them? Or is this something special? I honestly feel that the majority of people want the other party to make the first move because it's obviously the lower risk strategy. Rejection. If it happens, it's going to take time to regain the energy and confidence to try again. Also, you girls blame everything on the guys, but generally never actually make a move or take in that fear of rejection. I have been rejected. It was really hurtful. Cried 4 nights on end. I'm not saying it doesn't happen to women, but it's part of the game for the guys. We come up to you 90% of the time. It's stressful and we have to act like it doesn't matter. Oh, now I get it. Yeah, I understand. Sorry for that. I'm terrible at small talk. I would manage to make a compliment or two, but after that I'm out, and awkwardness sets in, and I leave with an excuse. It's very rare for me to meet a woman I'm really interested in, with whom I can talk without weirdness. That happens like once a year, 2 years. I have no problem talking to women I have no interest in, BTW. It has mostly to do with some mental blockade I have. I have no problem socializing with women I already know from work or through friends. That's how I've got to know the girlfriends I've had up to now. What if the girl's favorite artist is Maroon 5 or Ed Sheeran, has an iPhone with a cracked screen, is taking a pouting selfie, uses slang words like crayon, and he says she is feminist? PS, I don't have a problem with feminism. I'm sorry if I'm being rude. Feminists don't usually act like that, but there may be that one. What's wrong with a cracked screen? It means she's frugal. Don't apologize. That's a pretty big red flag nowadays, lol. I will have you know that Ed Sheeran is a precious gem of musician. How do we know she actually likes us if we always have to make the first move? It's nonsensical, because it's the same when the roles are flipped, but that's the truth, at least for me. I think it's why there's such a divide between a-holes who go after everything that breathes and shy guys who tend to be alone much of the time. The ones who go for quantity in hopes that the wide net returns a good relationship, and the ones who are looking for quality yet think they can't know if the feelings are mutual, if they are the ones doing the legwork. The gaggle of other women around her. It's easier to get them in the van when they are alone. Have you tried tears or a flashbang? Yeah, once. It kinda worked. I got one, but it wasn't the one I wanted. It was one of the larger, less intelligent ones. She wouldn't fit in the suitcase I normally use to get them down the back stairs. Had to go buy a special one. Plus, she eats more than they normally do, and she almost seems appreciative. That really wasn't what I was looking for. The fact I was married for 10 years to somebody I cared about a lot, and feeling like I actually don't want to go through the horrible, painful process of getting to know somebody again, and them getting to know me, and all the time I would have to spend doing it, and all the free time I would now after so long getting used to, give up. Oh, and yeah, the knowledge that at any moment with the longer into a relationship it being worse the other person could just up and die on you. It's frankly amazing. I even tried dating apps, no success yet. Women are always a resource allocation question. Is my attraction to this woman likely to be a net positive compared to the resources, time, money, caring, effort, risk, a vertical bar that I will be expending? Sometimes the answer is yes, the woman is interesting, but seems to fail the cost of required investment of resources to go farther. Sorry, there's not unlimited resources available. I have to make choices about what investment is more likely to pay off. It's the fact that I, or men like me with maybe bad body shape or bad skills or any inferior factors compared to that woman or women as a whole, which makes me feel that it would be ridiculous to approach her. The feeling that comes up to me at first instance is, who are you to approach her? You're not qualified, etc. Anyone else with same thoughts? Second guessing, worrying about being intimidating, not knowing how to start a conversation, worrying I'm being dense, and missing a sign that she wants to be left alone. But mainly that I've never had an approach succeed, so it feels like I'm being dumb trying the same thing that hasn't worked over and over again. Won't force it if it's really not the place or the time, or when something feels odd. This is especially for stranger and NBSP. Other than that, approach is a must, else regret. Because how else you'd know she's single, cool, and interesting or otherwise, if there's no sort of interaction happens. Women, if you are interested, be a confident man and approach me. Also, women, don't come hit on me, just leave me be. Step 1, be attractive. Step 2, don't be unattractive. Gee, it's almost like women aren't a hive mind, and we don't all have the same opinions on everything. Fear of rejection is a big one, especially fear that it will negatively affect my relationship with the person if I already know them. Also, I've recognized that I'm not currently mentally or financially stable enough to actually be fair to someone in a romantic relationship, so I'm not looking right now. After being turned down 3 times now, I decided to just step back for a while. I'm still great friends with all of them, and maybe that's enough for now. Yes, I know that 3 friend zones isn't nearly as many as some other people have been through, but it stings nonetheless. Low self-esteem. I don't think I'm particularly good looking. Fear of rejection. I have never asked a woman out and not been rejected. That leads to lack of confidence. Also, I'm happily married. Well, that escalated quickly, hahaha. Running the risk of our relationship being irreparably changed when she rejects me, and we have to continue being friends with her knowing I have unrequited feelings for her. Oh, wow, I had the same situation as you. Yep, definitely it's scary. Lack of affirming social and physical cues. No eye contact, smiles, flirting, laughing at my jokes, etc. I usually aim for at least 2 of those particular 4 as an indicator that they have at least some interest in me. If there isn't even a hint of receiving that kind of interest back after a basic conversation, it's the fear of putting yourself out there and being rejected. Funny thing is though, the times I have been rejected, I feel better than I would if I hadn't tried. Like a lot of people said already, fear of rejection. Also, I just kind of assume that she doesn't feel the same way, so I just reject myself on her behalf. Whenever I do end up asking her out, I end up being right. Fear of coming of intimidatingly. I'm by no means like a big tough guy, just physically big, so I can seem imposing. It can make it awkward. Also I'm a reverse butterface, good looking face, just a large soft body. Because I have very clear physical and mental disabilities and have been burned rejected later down the line. Because of that, enough times to know better and not waste my time or risk actually investing emotions into the relationship. I'm too shy. I'm gonna send a letter to her apartment, but a number code on her apartment complex door is blocking me from entering complex. I know where she lives, but I'm not certain which apartment door she lives at. If she says no, things will remain awkward. You say you'll be friends, but she's already told people about how pathetic you are and how she feels bad for you being so lonely, also fear of rejection or whatever. A general fear or weakness above all else. Asking someone out on a first date is one of the most vulnerable situations any guy can relate to, at the very least by how nerve-wracking the entire situation is. 1. I work with her. 2. I don't get the sense that she's interested in me. 3. I don't think I'm worth much as a romantic partner right now and need to work on improving myself first. I'm afraid that the way someone is less ideal than how I imagine them at a distance. Moreover, people who look good on paper have been some of the worst people I've met. What's the point in asking when I already know the answer? Better to just let the thought float out of my head and not think about it. The interest will go away in time. I have anxiety and am constantly worried about what she will say, good or bad. Every scenario comes into my head and I get flustered by myself. Seeing every way she could reject me, I kept joking, what's the worst that could happen? I'll send you a PDF. Then I got bored and made the PDF. The fact that she recommended not to date anyone in school. I'm in her class. We kissed once as a dare, truth or dare. She told it to me a week later. Fear of rejection, fear of being ridiculed, fear of coming across as a creep, lack of confidence that she could be interested in me in that way. Prior to asking, you can think about her and dream about being with her, knowing that maybe it's possible. But when she says no, those dreams are crushed.